Hi guys, welcome to another episode of your Football Talk. For those of you watching, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share the video out. We'll be discussing Arsenal's double over Chelsea for the first time since 2004. I'll come to you first straight away. What did you make of the first half? And I mean, we got to but
Well, as we spoke just before we started the podcast, it was a jammy win. We can't lie about it. It was a back pass that we just even managed to screw up. Emil Smith Rowe did kind of skew it. It did look like it was going to go wide, but luckily it just crept in. So yeah, scratching my head here because I didn't honestly think we'd win. I'll take it, but it's crazy how we've done the double over them, and Chelsea.
It was good pressing from Arsenal generally to force that pass back.
Yeah. Some positives there, but yeah, defending wise, then it was pretty much just defending, Chelsea's attack, and they brought players on afterwards as well. Obviously, they're saving them for the FA Cup final, but a good win. Another, credit in the bank for Arteta, as we've mentioned earlier. So yeah, take the win. Why not?
Amik, anything to add on that?
Nah, nothing much, to be honest. It's what you come to expect from both teams. Chelsea to dominate possession without actually killing teams off because their front line they're just not clinical.
But they did create a few clear-cut chances. I mean,
exactly, they created chances, but they didn't finish them because they're not clinical. Chelsea need at least two clinical players in the summer, otherwise they're going to end up suffering results like this quite often.
I think Werner was a big miss today because they had too many players wanted to link up and get onto the ball. And with Werner, even though he's offside a lot of the time, his runs in behind does destabilize defense. And a back three, I think he could have confused them a bit. But yeah, I thought Arsenal were very fortunate for the win. Very fortunate. I think the whole game is reward for one player, really. Smith Rowe, he's the one who presses Jorginho, gets the goal. The whole his all-round game was the only positive. In otherwise, quite a limp performance for me, especially in the first half. There was a point where they couldn't get out of the first half. And I was thinking if the second half is like this, it's going to be like really boring to watch.
Oh, the second half was like that, and Chelsea did nothing. See?
Yeah, I thought Chelsea lost their edge because of the subs they made. They didn't have as much control. I thought,
it's because
taking
they
up really
realized
was a mistake.
But to be fair, the chances that Chelsea created today weren't particularly
the Havertz one was
decisive. Yeah, but he didn't create that chance.
And Mount, Famik, don't you think the Mount one, obviously, he straight at the holding.
Which Mount one?
When Pulisic pulled it back.
Yeah, but that's not a clear cut because there was like 4 or 5 players in between him and the goal. What I'd say is that to all you Chelsea fans that were talking about Martinelli's goal against Chelsea where he's run from his half and then slotted it past the goalkeeper, and they were saying anybody can do that. Havertz had the opportunity and he didn't do it. Just thought I'd let you guys know. That's the difference.
Yeah, Martinelli was on the bench, so
what difference?
I'm just saying, isn't it? Like you can't big up a player who's not even
Man United lost
time.
yesterday. We're just saying stuff.
I don't mind. I'm just saying Martinelli didn't even get on. You're praising Martinelli, didn't even get on the pitch.
He's all right. He's all right. Do you know what's funny is that you can just tell this is what happens with Chelsea games. You talk about Chelsea games for 5 minutes and there's nothing else to talk about. Usual stuff. Chelsea dominate possession, create half chances, don't take them, and they either win the game 1-0 or draw, or as today happens, they lost.
Famik, I wanted to ask you, obviously you weren't there for the video when you done the Europa League one. Should Arsenal keep Arteta? That's what I wanted to ask you.
Well, it doesn't really matter what I say. They're going to keep him anyway.
But
Arteta's had
do you
at
think
least...
Arsenal need to change?
Arteta has had at least, three moments where he should have been sacked, in my opinion. And he's still the manager. And I'm hearing they're still going to back him again in the summer. So I reckon what's going to happen is he's going to buy his players. He's going to get to November, Arsenal are going to have a terrible period, and then we're going to sack him. And I don't know what's going on with my camera.
Yeah, it's not focusing on you. Ruel, I'll come to you.
Switching off.
What do you make of Arteta and the year so far, really? And do you think he should be?
Yeah, so obviously it started really well, end of last season. Obviously this is because of COVID, it came around really quickly. But you had the good performances now and then we had that really rocky patch. Until that Chelsea win really back in December, I think. And then we strung a couple of results together. And obviously we kind of realized where we're going to be in the league and started focusing on the Europa League. So last week's result was really disappointing, to be honest. Yeah, he just manages, he beats the big teams, which is weird because Wenger, towards the end of his reign, he wasn't winning any of the top 6 matches, which is weird because Arteta is actually winning or getting points from the top 6, but he's just dropping points to the lower teams, which is, it's just, we can't seem to we can't put we're not consistent enough because we are winning these big games. Previously would have cried out for a win, double win over Chelsea. We would have bitten anyone's high hand off if they said, we could win, 6 points out of Chelsea, beat Man United at Old Trafford and stuff like that. Man City obviously in the FA Cup last season. So yeah, he's gonna still stay there. They're gonna give him a run. Yeah, it could be until December, see where he is in the league. If we're not going to be anywhere near Europe and stuff again, depending on which managers are out there, we might be in the market. But then again, we've got a takeover potentially happening. Are they going to want to keep Arteta? So, for the time being, he's probably going to have summer. As long as he doesn't do any of those Williams signings or buying these really old players from Chelsea and stuff. Because I don't know what the strategy is. We need to have a decent summer strategy. Obviously, we had Thomas Partey, and there's a few other players in France that he was looking at. Was it Oyo? I can't pronounce his name now, but there's a few other. Yeah, I've grown up near Palace, so I'm a big sort of after Arsenal. Palace is my second team, and Zaha. Pepe's done well this season, but every time I watch Zaha, I just thought he would have just done something at Arsenal, and sort of he's a leader as well. Sometimes we lack leaders in the Arsenal team, and I can see Zaha just scruff of the neck, just pulling the boys. Sometimes Aubameyang just doesn't do that all the time. I really wish we'd bought Zaha though, but we'll see what he does in the summer.
Well, that's the thing. You say that because I remember Emre saying he wanted Zaha as well, but obviously Arsenal went and got Pepe.
We have some DFS 4-year installment stuff going on, so that goes back to the ownership, doesn't it? In terms of what they're going to give money and who's going to come to us if we've got no Europe this season.
That's it, really. Adi, sorry, you were going to join in.
I was going to say, hit the nail on the head in terms of after this full season, you still don't know Arsenal's strategy. Don't know the strategy off the pitch and on the pitch. You're saying, the Chelsea results, they were back to the Wolves result. They weren't like convincing victories. They were very much, they were more tactical games, stale games in which Arsenal got the win. One was penalty, this one was error from Jorginho. They're not convincing performances. So on the pitch, you don't know you can't definitively say what is Arsenal's philosophy on the pitch, because is it a counter-attacking team? Is it a combination team? Is it an attacking team? Because the formations change, the personnel change. I still don't know what type of team Arteta is trying to build. And then the transfer strategy in the summer was strange. I mean, they went for players like David Luiz and Willian, and then they getting Partey in, and the two signings that excited me, Partey and Gabriel, look a shadow of the players that we were expecting. Even today, Gabriel, just when I first saw him at the beginning of the season, especially even in the game against United, I just thought, wow, he's got potential to be a really big, a great central defender in the Premier League. And then it's like since he's got sent off, his confidence is completely shot. He's just not the same aggressive type of defender anymore. Partey, again, just looks like he's interested when he's on the ball and goes past one or two players. Other than that, he just looks disinterested to get on the ball, to make things happen. So I don't know. The strategy is a question mark. And I still think if you get rid of Arteta, it might end up in the same situation as Spurs. Like, are you going to be able to attract a top-class manager when you're not in Europe.
I think in terms of that, Arsenal aren't like Spurs because Arsenal are still a big club in terms of the stature. So I still think players and managers will still want to come because they would want to be the ones to bring Arsenal back. It's a big achievement if you manage to do it. You don't have. I'm not saying the Real Madrid and Barcelona targets will come to Arsenal, but I still think people are more likely to come to Arsenal than they are to go to Tottenham. So we can still get the players just below world class level, and they would want to change it. For example, Partey. Partey is a good example. Even though Arsenal weren't at their best, we still managed to get him. So I still think that's going to be the case this summer. But if next year we ain't in any European competition, that's where it will be like, okay, we won't be getting certain people.
Famik, where do we need to improve? With regards to Arsenal, what positions, which players do we need to get? Where do we need to get?
I think we need I just realized why my thing is not working. I think we need an internal, a 1-on-1 winger, someone who can actually beat a man consistently.
Yeah.
We need another central midfielder who not only links up play but can get on the end of chances. A Ramsey type, if that makes sense. Third man runner.
Box to box you're looking at.
Yeah, but a bit more both sides of the ball. Because Ramsey was more attacking, but we need one that's both sides of the ball, which is Basuma would be a good signing, but he's not quite the level that I expect because Partey's passing is not as good as I first thought. So we need someone who can actually pass as well as attack and defend. And then I think we need another right back. And with all the stuff that's happening with Leno, I think we should just sell him, personally.
Right, he's lucky for that Kurt Zuma header. He messed that up.
Good save, kind of.
Going on like good save. He missed it. He didn't really.
Yeah. But he saved it, so I'll give him it.
Yeah, but even in that, you don't get confidence from.
That's what it is. Because
you can't tip a simple header over.
I feel like when you watch the Arsenal back line when Matt Ryan plays, even though he's probably not as good a shot stopper as Leno, the back line looks quite a bit more confident.
Commands the area more probably.
Yeah, that was the difference between him and Martinez.
Martinez when he was here, yeah.
But Martinez makes some dumb mistakes as well. To be fair, I'm not even gonna. Yeah. Anyway,
Roel, would you agree with Famik in terms of the players we need, or do you think there's other areas that we also need to prioritize?
I think if we're not in Europe, I think Arteta, his hand will be sort of, he might have to go into the youth, but obviously with Saka and ML Smith,
the board said they're going to back him with 2 or 3 major signings. So
yeah,
they say that every year.
This is what's been said. So I'm just
he's going to have to be
forever the optimist.
And then I think look at the academy, try and bed a couple. Obviously, they've bailed us out this season. Let's not beat around the bush. Saka and ML Smith have been the star. Lacazette has come in, obviously scored a couple of goals here and there. Aubameyang has just been off. He's got hardly any points on fantasy football, and at the moment he's sulking when he gets up.
You still have him.
Yeah, still, you gotta have that one Arsenal player.
Yeah, I opted against it.
I honestly think look at the academy, because I know there's a few quality players still in there. Maybe try and get 1 or 2 in, and it's going to be tough to try and bring in those big signings without any European football. Obviously, COVID still, because I think we still might have paid higher wages. That's another reason. But you don't want people to come in for the wages. And I know all Arsenal fans are probably praying that hopefully Aubameyang doesn't become an Ozil, because that Ozil situation hanged over us for several months, didn't it?
I think that was a problem as well. That was a problem in the beginning of the season. Cost us.
Yeah, and everyone was. It's one of those ones where when a player's not playing, they're like the greatest. But let's be honest, when Ozil did play, sometimes he was disinterested, and we would be criticizing him anyway. But when he wasn't playing, he was like, "We need him. He's gonna answer all our prayers. We're gonna win the league and stuff." I'm just hoping Aubameyang with the 350 grand a week doesn't start getting demoralized and start sitting there and and start, and we just have another Ozil.
Like he was on the bench and he got taken off.
You see how Sky were constantly zooming in on him? They were trying to like form a narrative, trying to make him look upset and stuff.
But I think he was upset.
He was upset, but stop zooming in on the man.
But you'd expect that from a big player to be upset.
That's what it is. He was upset, but this happens to everybody.
Every big player should be upset with bad performance.
They want to play all 90
Obviously,
minutes.
Sky's gonna look for something to say.
But I mean, no, funny. Aubameyang, other than being offside, he done nothing in the whole game.
Yeah. To be fair, he didn't. But
and the other player that was non-existent, and you know, I don't know what Arteta sees in him because they're desperate to sign him is Odegaard.
Odegaard, he's been
today. He looked way out of his depth today.
But the funny thing is that if you watch the games, though, these are Arteta's instructions, not the players. Because when Odegaard first came, he was involved in quite a bit. The longer he's been here, the less involved he's become. Just like Partey. When Partey first joined, everybody was like, wow, Arsenal have signed a star guy. And now he just looks like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So
you can say the same thing for Gabriel as well, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much all of them. There isn't anybody that I would say Arteta's actually improved since he's been the Arsenal manager, which is why I find it strange that he's still the manager.
Mad, because he was a really good, highly respected coach at Man City and stuff. And you're saying he's regret our plays, and you're right. I do remember when these guys did come in, first couple of games they were like amazing, and then they seem to be regressing. Is he trying to?
No, I think it's been well documented that he's very systematic. He's trying to do the Pep approach to Arsenal, and Arsenal, the whole academy, everything has still got the Wenger philosophy of combination play, free flowing, attacking, overlaps, transition, and so a lot of the players from the academy, you see when they come in, they still play with that type of flair, and he's trying to coach that out of him. That's why I think even with Martinelli, the way he's handling him is he's trying to do that Pep thing of holding him back and make him a bit more of a secure player first. But the thing is, the reason why it's not working at Arsenal is because he didn't clear the decks. The thing with Pep is wherever he goes, he gets rid of the old guard, has 3 or 4 50 million pound signings, sorts out the difference. I think Arteta tried to do the same thing by buying all these defenders and making impact, but the problem is they weren't able to get rid of players.
But even the players that he didn't manage to get rid of, why is he using them?
Because
that's what I didn't understand.
I think they're under pressure to keep the value of players. I still think Arsenal isn't a club that they can just spend without recuperating. They're not in that financial.
So do you think his hands are forced? That's why he's kind of playing these players.
I think that's
so
why
he can sell them for a bit more money than what it would initially be.
Okay, before you continue,
give him more time.
I'm gonna shatter this argument real quick. Why is Holding playing every game?
No, but he probably actually, rates Holding more than other players.
He's come out and
that's
said,
the issue there.
Famik, he's come out and said his main players for next year is Chambers, Holding, and I think it was Mari for next year. Oh, sorry, Kieran Tierney. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Really?
This is why he has come out and said so.
They must be doing something in training. That's the other one.
To be fair, I think Chambers has been our best right back this season, but Mari and Holding are just.
I don't know about that, Famik.
Do you know what's weird is that?
Which Arsenal matches are you watching? Tell me, man.
What?
In terms of what? I've seen Chambers. I can't believe
it just looks mad.
You don't think Chambers has been? Oh my days! Let me try and remember.
There's been games where he looks absolutely
exactly.
When Arsenal play free flowing, I admit he looks more convincing
than the other two because Chambers is okay. When I say Chambers has been better, his both sides of the game on average are better than Bellerin and the other guy who Arteta decided doesn't want to play no more.
Cedric.
That's it. Like Arteta will go through phases where he'll tell you this person's important, and as soon as he says that, you don't see that player for the next 3-4 games.
Yeah, but I think he's trying to stamp his authority on the players still. The reason why he's saying Tierney, Holding and Chambers, because their players are just going to follow instructions. They're going to do exactly what Arteta says. And I think that's what if you look at his lineups recently, he's going with players that are just going to follow instructions. They're not going to, play their own style and play, he's trying to really, and that's why I think, unless they back him properly and he gets those one or two jigsaws like the Hossam, he clearly wants a playmaker, defensive mid, a deep line playmaker. He really wants that. He needs that for his system.
Who's this deep line playmaker? Because Awar is definitely not.
Yeah,
I don't think he is.
I mean, he's played that position more than any other. I know this year he's been dropped because of the system change, and he started off as a 10 this year. But that's what Leon do. They progress you up into different positions just to keep developing your game. But his main position is a deep line playmaker.
I thought his main position was the further forward midfielder, like a Nabil Fekir
this season
type.
He started off playing there, but the previous season he's been the deep line playmaker.
I just personally think Arteta's taste in players are actually terrible.
Why, you think Auer's not a good player?
I don't think that's Arteta's taste. Personally, I think look at his track record, because he loves Holding. Holding is his type of player. Mari, Cedric, Arteta wanted. Willian. These are Arteta's taste in players, because Saliba wasn't on an Arteta signing, and I don't think Gabriel was either. Thomas Partey, well, everybody's going to like him anyway.
I think some of those signings were because they were cheap signings. Like Cedric was only 5 mil, and he wanted to get rid of other players.
Cedric was free.
From the squad.
Cedric was free. I do.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He cost 5 mil because he paid for his loan.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mari wasn't cheap though. How much was he? 10.
He was like 7 million.
But at the time, for ball playing at the back, probably he thought that's a good price.
And then you signed another centre back and renewed Luis's contract.
Yeah, I think what it is, he wanted to get rid of players like Socrates and Mustafi. There's a lot of other dead wood that he's trying to clear out, but they wasn't able to.
But do you see what I mean when I say Arteta's doesn't make sense? Because obviously this is going back to last season. Well, not last season, but the beginning of this season.
But Famik, he has had to deal with a lot though, in terms of getting rid of a lot of dead woods and stuff. So
it's a big rebuild.
There is a lot going on. It's not just.
Nah, I don't give him any. There's no sympathy, and the reason why there's no sympathy is you're trying to get rid of Socrates and Mustafi. These are people you're trying to get rid of. You have other defenders who can play in these positions, but you're continuously playing the two people that you want to get rid of. People who them learning your system doesn't make sense because they're not going to be part of your future, and they are eating up minutes of other players who are going to be here for the long term. Just like this Willian signing, Willian was eating up minutes from ESR and Pepe, players who are going to be here for the long term, because you're not going to sell Pepe because you're not going to get back his value. So he's going to be here for a while. ESR's coming through the ranks, so he's going to be here for a while. Willian's taking up their minutes. He's taking up Martinelli's minutes. These are choices Arteta's making. So I don't see how that's going to change.
Yeah, obviously that's clearly the other thing that's made compelling is he's making mistakes on the job, and that's the problem. This is his first actual managerial position. You look at a lot of the other managers; they've cut their teeth at that, reserve team level or at lower clubs, and they've learned from their mistakes there. And Arteta is literally making the mistakes and having to learn it in the firing line of the Premiership. So I think that's those things you're saying are mistakes that maybe Tuchel has made at Mainz and Pep made in the reserve team at Barca, and they've learned from it. But Arteta has made the jump without taking those steps.
But he still doesn't have a philosophy, because even Lampard made those same mistakes, but you could see what he was trying to do.
No, but
he just wasn't good at it.
You could see why.
But he still had experience of Derby before that.
Fair enough.
I think he would have made more mistakes if he went straight to Chelsea. And that's not the thing, though, isn't it? I mean, it's absurd to think Arsenal would go for a manager as much as highly rated he was as a coach that actually has no experience, because Arsenal isn't that type of club to be grooming a manager, a young manager.
It's funny you say that because
for ready-made managers or young managers have some experience,
some pedigree. Yeah, it's funny you say that though, because I initially said rather than if you're gonna go for the young manager, do it straight after Wenger, because then you get given the opportunity to rebuild. But they've done Emery first, and it was a disaster. Arsenal fans weren't happy about it. Now we've got Arteta, who is doing worse than the guy who was before him that no one was happy about. And this is what they've done. Whereas what they should have done is just gone Arteta straight away and said, yeah, we're giving him 2 years or 3 years, then we're going to sack him. But now you've gone from a manager who almost got us top 4. He should have, but he didn't. He almost did. To a manager now who has got us in a position where we're so far away from finishing top 4, you wonder why he's still in the job.
Yeah, Emery won the FA Cup too. So
exactly. So it's not even
an upgrade. And he beat Arsenal with a weaker team.
That second leg is the worst thing I've ever seen Arsenal do. Ever.
Heartless.
We're at home and we didn't create anything in that game.
But don't you think like that game performance was a bit like today's one? It just looked disjointed. The players were happy, really believe.
Arsenal,
I think in the play.
I think we scored like 55 goals this season. I think that's the lowest total we've ever scored at this point of the season, because we don't create anything. And as bad as Aubameyang's been this season, he also hasn't actually received that many chances. He
hasn't played enough consistently either. He's been in and out.
Nah, he had a period. He had a period.
Oh, yeah, at the beginning, yeah.
Where we were basically, since Smith Rowe's come, we've probably created like 1 chance a game. Before that, it was half chances, if that. So it's clear that Arteta's system, no one knows what's going on with his system, and that is the first issue. The first and biggest
maybe it's
issue.
a bit like the Liverpool thing where a lot of the chances are created off the press, and that's
no.
I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Arteta's just here for sound bites. He says all the right things, and he goes into the change rooms, and then we see the same things. What's he say? It was supposed to be a meritocracy. Is that how you say it?
Meritocracy.
Meritocracy. I don't think there is, personally. I think certain players will always play. Certain people will always be given more opportunities than others. And that's just how he sees it. And then he'll come out and he'll say, yeah, we played well, we pressed well, but we were unlucky because of this or because of that. When really, it's like he's watched a different game.
Well, he came out after the Villarreal game and he said we deserve to go through. I don't know. I mean, I was bemused which game he was watching, but
weirdest thing, just strange.
Strange
stuff.
Did any of you see the reports a couple of months ago where before the elections, Barcelona election, there were rumors.
I saw that, and I was
Arteta.
I was proper.
But they wanted Arteta as the manager.
I was praying that he went.
Yeah.
If someone searches my tweets here, you'll see me. I said I need him. Whoever Barcelona get, I need them to take Arteta with them.
One of the presidential guys was lining up Arteta to take over, apparently.
The sad thing is, though, this is probably going to be the highest rated job Arteta's going to get. And because he started off so high, it's only down from here for him, unfortunately.
That's harsh. I think he's got potential. I
don't think it's harsh at all.
I think Arteta's he wants to really coach the team and redefine the playing style. And when you do stuff like that, you have to get rid of the old guard. You're gonna bring in signings. You have to make a statement straight away. And I don't think this summer he was able to do that. In terms of the signings, he got a lot of the players he wanted, but he wasn't able to get rid of the old guard. So I just think he's that type of manager where when he goes in somewhere, he needs to do a clear out of the old guard and get his own people in, just so everyone buys into what he's trying to coach. Now it's like Aubameyang don't want to listen to Arteta's system
anymore. He was invested at the start, and he realized it's not helping him because what it seems like, it's probably not true, but it looks like Arteta's been with Pep for such a certain amount of time that he's trying to emulate Pep, but he doesn't know the reasons why Pep does certain things.
He's trying to do what he has seen, isn't it? He's only going to go off what he's learned.
But that's the strange thing. They start to go to that false 9 thing as well, and I was thinking, oh my gosh,
listen,
you're struggling with
that first leg
time
of that Villarreal game.
Why did he not start Martinelli?
Why would you start a false 9 on a team that aren't creating chances? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense. And then we're chasing the game, and he takes off Aubameyang. This is the manager that these not want me to have and be happy with.
Ruhel, what I'd like to know, are you sound like you're content to go with Arteta still.
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of the manager situation, obviously we've seen what's gone on with United, going like a merry-go-round every 2-3 years, Van Gaal, and then obviously Mourinho and stuff. So Arsenal probably looked at that and thought, I don't think they would have gone for I don't think Arteta straight away after Wenger would have been good, because I think you still needed a experienced manager to come in and just to handle the situation. Obviously, someone's been there for 25, 26 years, whatever. Needed someone, a novice would not be able to, they were just drowned in this. So someone like Emery, obviously, he did okay for a while. Arteta's going to get a bit more, hopefully over the summer, whether they back him or not.
I'm with you on that. I think we do. I mean, I'm happy to give.
I think a lot depends on. I really think a lot depends on whether you make it to Europe. I think if you make it to Europe, Arteta is going to struggle. I think he needs time on the training ground where he doesn't need to do so many rotation of players. He has his first team. He embeds his ideas to him. Doesn't constantly need to rotate, switch, because he's managing the workload of players. And he just needs to clear the deck. The guys he don't want need to move on.
So the thing about Europe as well, I think Arsenal fans have been saying this for quite some time. This is more the ownership level. It would be better if we don't have Europe. So it might actually work in Arteta's favour. So we get the owners out because he's not in Europe anymore. And then Arteta can just focus on the bread and butter of the league and a couple of the cups. And then we start seeing, I know we were talking about the philosophy and things like that of the team. Maybe he starts growing in and we can see some sort of, combination, see what he's trying to do. And, I know what you mean. Like, obviously we look at we beat United, we beat Chelsea, but one was a back pass, a penalty and stuff like that. So there's not really, we didn't thrash anyone 3 or 4-0.
Yeah.
Wow. We dominated a top 6. We were very fortunate. This next season, it might be the reverse and we might start losing these games. So yeah, I think without us not being in Europe might be a blessing in disguise. And hopefully for Arteta, he gets an opportunity.
I agree myself.
Thank you both. But I mean, we're running out of time. So thank you. And yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Thanks, guys.